This sounds. So, hello everybody. Today there's a topic I really wanted to talk you through. Pretty important for me, and also quite quite popular. I don't know if popular is the right word. However, I do feel like we should be talking about more about styling people, or um, um, the issues we have in styling on buyers clothes when we have disabilities. So that's why I am recording this video call with Maria.
Hello.
So Maria and I met, like, I would say, like something like almost 5 years ago now. So
Yeah.
time flies, isn't it? And so, um, I asked her, today I asked her, just to share something about herself, and to guide me through a little bit about her experience in, obviously, living with a disability, and being connected to our body, like our body, how she experienced all of this, because obviously I can only imagine, I can only try, but she knows this better. So I wanted to, just have her talking about her personal experience. So Marie, if you want to share something with me, and yeah, we can.
Okay. Well, thanks for asking me to do this because I think it's an issue we really need to talk about more. Um, I think things are improving for women with disabilities, but certainly I would say it's had a really big impact on my life, particularly from being a teenager onwards. I feel the world sees disabled women in not the same way as other women. We're not allowed to be seen as glamorous or sexy or fashionable. And I think these are things that really need to be addressed. I think things are improving. I mean, when I was growing up, you would never see a disabled person in a magazine or on television. So that is improving. And I think that's something really important because I know if I've seen somebody with a disability represented in a positive way in a magazine, it would have made me feel so much better about myself. Whereas a lot of the time, even now, I think disability is presented as something to pity, to feel sorry for people, rather than see them as a person.
And I feel like, that's something I often think about myself, because um, I want to, when I'm at work, or if I get to meet somebody that does need my help, I always feel like I want to be helpful, but at the same time leave them some dignity, because there are really, really bad conditions, or there are experiences where people are not able, that there are people that are not able to be independent at all. So, and I mean, it must be awful, or it must be awful. It is hard, and I do believe it is hard. And so, there's always this part of me being, oh, I want to help them, and then this other part of me being, oh, I should leave them, I should help them finding some space for themselves, in order to feel a little bit more independent, and just to live this life. They are kind of they had no choice to in a way more dignity. That's what I would say personally. There's no other word.
I think that's really important as well, the dignity side, because sometimes people mean well, but then they can talk to people as if they're as if they're a child. For example, there's an elderly lady that I know. I meet her at the bus stop. She lives around here, and I said to her one day that I'd just come back from Oxford Street. I said, "Oh, you go up to Oxford Street on your own?" Yes, of course I do. And then, as you know, I've got my kitchen done recently, and I was saying to her, I had builders in, said, "Oh, what, you own the house, do you?" And it's like, you know, she said, besides disability, I couldn't possibly own a house or get on the bus and go to Oxford Street. And she was well meaning. She wasn't saying it to be unkind. She just, that's what we thought. And I think that's something that obviously needs to change. And I think it is changing, but I think that that's the thing you raised about helping people. I think it's good to offer help, but not in a patronising way. I think, for instance, like when you're working, if you're working with a customer and you're styling somebody and maybe you think they might need a bit of help with choices and things, I think the best way is maybe just to say, "Oh, if you need any help, I'm here," because then it's more general. It's like you'd say to anybody rather than, you know, if you're specifically aiming at them, because they might think, "Oh, why are you picking on me and not somebody able-bodied?" So I think it's important to think about how we offer help. Though it is good to offer help, definitely. I'm not trying to put people off from offering help at all.
Um, yeah. To be honest, Maria, obviously I haven't experienced it, and but I am try, and you know, every time I question, like I personally question, you know, am I doing the right things? I am trying. About the like the lady who was like being a little bit patronizing, or I mean, I didn't like probably like, you know, didn't encourage you, like, you know, do you feel like, you know, uh, an independent adult beautiful woman as you are, wanted to, I do personally feel like that's the thing is connected, it's really connected with education and how people are educated in schools. Like it's, I just feel like it's where everything starts. And I do feel like that luckily right now things are like things are improving a lot, and we are like you know, we like we have a choice, like, you know, to use this life and to be better people, or not to be one. I do feel like that some time ago it wasn't even like, you know, something that people would have grown up to, knowing, like, you know, experience and knowing, you know, where a disability is, you know, you know, to include it in a social under like a social point of view, you know, what are the best things to be done in a under a social point of view, and so on. So yeah, I do feel like personally the main thing comes with education, because if I feel about how I have been like how I've been interpreting all of it came out, is just because I've had probably good teachers. I met good people during my life path that were like, oh, they made me realize, you know, I should have thought a little bit. I thought I wish I thought that I wish I thought about it in a different way, and so that's where everything started. But yeah, that's a question I really wanted to ask you, as like you entering a store, and what is something that you feel like is missing, or it can be everything in terms of infrastructure, and also in terms of, you know, what would you think could be better, do you think could be better, in terms of how people address to you, and like, you know, it just like, you know, your whole experience in shopping, what do you feel can be done better?
I think I think that when it comes to design and clothes, for myself, the clothing isn't such an issue. I have a terrible problem with shoes, and I wish designers would make more nice shoes that were flat and maybe had an ankle strap, because my main problem is shoes. This why generally I end up wearing Skechers or trainers, or maybe a flat ballet pump. And I just think, just because you're wearing flat shoes, you don't want to wear some big, clumpy, quite ugly looking shoe. Some of us might want to wear something that looks quite elegant. And I wish they would put a bit more thought into that, because it seems designers, unless you're going to be wearing really high heels, they're not really putting much thought into it. So I would like people to look at the footwear idea more so. Um, as regards actual shopping, I find most shops for me are okay, but then I'm quite able to get around. I think maybe somebody with a wheelchair user might find shopping a completely different experience because
Yeah.
obviously there's lifts, you have to wait to go up in the lift, that's fine. But then when you get there, sometimes the aisles aren't that big for people to get around. And I do think people's perception of you is very important as well. I mean, I know from going around some shops, I do think they see somebody with a disability, and it's I think they immediately make the assumption that one, you can't afford some of the stuff because they probably think you're not working and you live on benefits because you have a disability, and they don't see you as such a potential customer. And I've seen that more in the high-end shops, like down Bond Street. So a lot of the design shops can be very good. There's one or two down there, I won't mention names, who aren't very good. And also from the high street shops, I mean, Zara, I shop in a lot. And the customer service is generally quite good, but I have had bad experiences in there as well. And I think generally there's too much of people in shops thinking, looking like supermodels and looking down at anybody else who doesn't fit their ideal. And I think that needs to stop. And you need to, even if you're looking on it as a purely commercial exercise, you've got to stop thinking that somebody with a disability can't afford to buy this, or is going to spend loads of money here because we just might do.
Yeah, I do feel like, obviously, there's not like, the way you are, or, it doesn't mean anything. Unfortunately, sometimes there is this kind of stereotype connected with luxury and like in having, a certain way to present ourselves and so on. So I do see the point you're coming from. And that is also a reason why today I ask you like to be wearing something you have already had, preferably, like because I'm really into sustainability, but just because I do feel like sometimes there are like just little tricks we can use to make ourselves feel better in what we have, and like just be creative with our own minds, or like with somebody that maybe can guide us through a little bit. It's just like there's a lot that needs to be done. For instance, like I know you've got like the opposite problem I have, like because I like I'm pretty like flat chest. My chest is pretty flat, and so I love to be wearing like either turtleneck or like just to give my upper shape some definition, but then I need to put some evidence on my waist. I mean, I'm gonna stand up today, but like today I'm wearing a pair of like high jeans, and like be like sort of like somebody who's gonna see me is gonna feel like she's pretty balanced, and like what I like for instance you got a skirt, and it's like to put like some details on the bottom if we think like on the bottom, or we can embellish it a little bit, and just to really make work like what we have and what we own, and just also to free our mind a little bit of like being about crazy about shopping and always buying the latest trends, which are something that honestly when it comes to fast fashion I'm really not able to cope with, because it's too fast and I'm like my head just goes crazy, and like I just believe it's got a way an impact on the environment which is terrible, which isn't great, but unfortunately that's what we're used to. And I do feel like this crisis showed us that we need to we need to evolve, and we need to like and we need to shop in a different way, look after the, like, take care of, like, the environment, like our planet in a better way, just be kinder to each other. I mean, like, I don't know, this experience of isolation, but it really, I mean, touched me. Like, during the past days, I was like, oh my God, I'm pretty drained. Even though, like, I'm sharing this house with a person, and I'm like, I'm pretty drained, what's happening? Like, just, it makes you feel like, that without others we are nothing, because it's not like there's no existence without connection. And I do feel like, we can really put some step, like we can put something at, like, to be better human, and, like, just to make sure that, like, we are responsible in our own way, and we just try, with all the imperfection we have, and, like, we just try to go for a better solution.
Yeah, I agree. Particularly the lockdown, I think, has made lots of people reassess their lives, and
Yeah.
it's the routine in your life that makes a difference, isn't it? I don't think any of us are missing shopping so much. We're missing not seeing our family and our friends. Maybe you might be missing the social side of things, of going out, having a meal with friends, that kind of thing. But when it comes to shopping, I think it starts to make you realise that that's not the most important thing. And as you said about taking care of each other and the environments as well. And I think as well, because obviously I think financially this has had an effect on lots of people, the lockdown. And I think hopefully it might make people buy things more thoughtfully and then look after what they have, rather than throwing them away and buying something new next week, which is a complete waste of money, as well as obviously the damage to the environment.
But the thing is also, Maria, I do feel like we are pushed this way. We don't have, like, too much of a choice, because if I feel like about emails I get, like, maybe casual subscription, I put my email for, it's just like I am bombed all the time. And,
Yeah,
like, I just feel like I can't keep up. So it is really hard, to find a way, because yeah, we have been impacted financially, as surely, like, like, I mean, many people have, and, like, they lost their jobs, they've been made redundant, and probably at the moment there isn't much they can do. But um, we also need to find a solution that's more, like, we also need to, like, think about, I think, our lives, and be in a time of, like, okay, like, we shop because sometimes we're just bored. I'm sorry, like, to say, but, like, it's just a way to fill up time. Okay, and it's fine, it can happen sometimes, but then, you know um we know, I'm sure we have clothes, like, we have enough clothing, and, like, we can recycle probably all fibers. And there are great designers out there who really, really take environmental issues and social issues connected with fashion seriously. It's not like there aren't, because there are great people who are making a difference. But also, like, it's not like, just life is not just about buying, but also, like, in our relationship, which are more important, like, our, it's about our health, like, our kind of, I wouldn't say purpose, because it's a really um it's a wrong time, because it is pretty hard, like, just to give ourselves our time a meaning, but at least, trying to be, like, to live a bit, like, just like, to be live a little bit more in a meaningful way, and not just to fill our time with, like, only buy, and then feel happy, because this is what happens. I don't know, it doesn't change much when you go, oh, everybody's like, we all need to be in a certain way, everybody's got this handbag, so we all go for the same one.
yeah,
It's just like, find our, like, our unicity, and, like, accept ourselves, and, like, the way it's not, and not being, and, like, the way we are is enough. We all need to improve. And, like, I mean, I'm the first one, I'm trying, I am I want to, like, just look out for myself, and, like, for my, like, what can be beneficial to my life. But also, like, I know there's gonna be many but that it is easy to fall, during the journey. And, like, sometimes I did, like, I maybe sometimes, like, oh my god, my back hurts, or like my brain hurts, like, so, or like, or I did a mistake. So it's all, like, I mean, I say, like, no, I won't say a learning process, but like a way which you can a way we can cope with things and make, just adjust ourselves to life, I would say, nothing more.
That's it. And I think be kinder to ourselves as well, because as you say, some days your back might be aching, things like that. Well, then don't beat yourself up if you haven't gone out and done your exercise that day or whatever. I think it's just we all have this kind of ideal in our heads that we have to do this, and if we don't do that, then our life isn't the way it should be. There's so many things we measure ourselves by and judge ourselves with, and I think we should stop doing that as well. And as regarding like buying things all the time, I just think it's that those constant emails you get when you sign up to various companies. It's like it's also, oh, you have to buy this new thing, and basically subliminally, I think it's saying to you, if you buy this, you will be happy, and that's the thing. And then people rush out and buy something, and they get that little high from having bought themselves something, and then it's back again, and then so it becomes a bit of an addiction for people.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing different, like, between shop alcoholism and, drug addiction. I don't feel like, there's necessarily when it, like, when I mean, there's nothing different. It's just like, the substance changes. Obviously, maybe, like, you can have some effect, more effect on your health, but, like, it may be like your finance will drop in both cases. But like,
Well, does it some people just have credit cards and get themselves into such debt because they've been going out buying all this stuff to make themselves feel better, So obviously, as you say, it's not physical, but it can have a terrible impact on people.
exactly. So, we just we know we can all, I feel like, we can all contribute, and, like, to make this life a little bit more bearable, because anyway we're already experiencing a lot. I mean, I do not had any personal loss during COVID, luckily, but, so many people did, and it is awful that they haven't been able, like, to families and so on. So, I just feel like there's already enough that, like, just that impact our lives, and, like, just drains us, and,
Yeah.
um that we don't need to look for more, but we necessarily need to be um looking for I mean, we need to find the best solution, or like the best solution to a bearable life, in to kind of be content, and obviously
Yeah.
good to be, like, ambitions, having new goal, having passion, but also that when there is a limit, it's fine, things take time, and, it doesn't mean that if I don't own this certain product, or, like, I'm not worth it, or, if I'm not this way, I am, like, I'm not worth it. There's always a way. That's what I personally believe. And
Yeah. And I think it's important to be grateful for the things that we've got. I think we can get so caught up in thinking we need to have this, we need to have that. You just focus on that. Whereas, really, we should just focus on the good things in life. The fact that you've woken up and you're fit and healthy, and, the birds are singing outside and it's a nice day. It's those kind of things. I think we should just appreciate life a bit more and appreciate the time we spend with our loved ones, rather than buying into all of this business where you have to be out there shopping. And I think the dangerous thing is, it's like people almost get into a bit of a frenzy, and it's like they're not even thinking anymore. It's thinking, no, I've got to buy this. It's the latest thing. All the celebrities are wearing it, or carrying the handbag or whatever. And I think we all need to take a step back and think, like, what are we actually doing here, rather than be behaving like sheep, really, because magazines and various companies are telling us this is what we need.
definitely. Yeah. I mean, um, yeah, it is a thing, right? Homologation. I don't know if I'm using the right word.
Would they
Homologation,
obligation?
homologation. I don't know if like it is actually a word in English right
I
now.
don't know.
I don't think so. Probably is one of like the one I translated like into my head from um, um, approval.
Oh, approval, yeah.
Oh, yeah, homologation. Like, yeah, one of the words, I translated into my head. I know there was something wrong with it into my head from Italian, but yeah. By the way, Marie, like I was looking at your cat, like doing stretches. Your
You
cat,
was what, girl?
your cat is doing some stretches at the
Oh,
back.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're upsetting me.
It was too cute, honestly, like all relaxed, like looking after his body. Well,
He just wants to take over and, be in the video himself.
well, we all need our 5 minutes of fame.
I hope you saw his face. I hope he didn't turn around so he was looking at his bum. I hope he was showing his face to you.
Yeah, he was just doing some yoga stretches.
As long as he wasn't, washing himself or revealing himself to you,
I mean,
that's
it's
okay.
primary, like, there's nothing wrong with that. So I would say, like, I don't personally have any more questions. Do you know, like, you want to share something more, like, about your experience or whatever you think about, it can be about sustainability, fashion, the way you experience shopping that, like, is important and you would like people to know, and that probably, and you will like, just to share because you feel like you will definitely make an impact.
What I would like to share, particularly if any other disabled people are watching this, I grew up feeling that I wasn't worth it. And that was nothing to do with my family or friends, because everyone was great to me. My mum was always telling me I looked lovely, and my dad, but I never believed it. And then as you get older, you do start to realise things are a bit different. But as you know, a couple of years ago, I had a health scare, and thank God I'm fine. But I had breast cancer, but they caught it very early, and it was all treated. Everything's fine. But that really woke me up because it made me realise how much I loved life and how much I wanted my life. And I regret that I've spent so much time being angry about my disability. And yes, I think people with disabilities have got every right to be angry because the world is hard for you if you've got a disability. But I think try not to let that get you down. Just enjoy life. You're as deserving as anybody else. This sounds ridiculous. When I was a teenager, I wouldn't even wear a pair of sunglasses because I was thinking to myself, people might think, well, who's she to go around wearing a pair of sunglasses trying to look fashionable? It's absolutely ridiculous when I think about it now. And I think the thing is, whether you've got a disability or not, I think the thing is that we all need to realise that we're worth it, and we can just be the people that we want to be. We can dress as fashionably as we want to or not, whatever we want to do, but we shouldn't limit ourselves. We should just be who we want to be.
Right, Maria, thank you. I got a little bit emotional just because, it just feels like, I did not have those kind of problems myself and while I was growing up. And yeah,
It is hard, but I think things are improving. Because as I said, like when I was a child, you didn't see anybody with a disability on the television, in a magazine. If you did, it was a story about, oh, this poor child's not well, blah, blah, blah. It was never a picture of a young girl or young woman presented in a way wearing nice clothes, looking pretty. It was never done in that way, whereas I think that is improving. And I know some people say that's very shallow, because obviously as women we're far more than the way we look. But for somebody with a disability, that is so important, because I never, growing up, thought that I couldn't be clever or couldn't do any job I wanted to do. I didn't study hard at school. I couldn't be bothered, but I know I could have done those things had I applied myself. I was never sure that I could be seen in the same way as other women. And that's why I think it's so important for women and men with disabilities as well to realise that they have every right to be seen in the same way as other people, as able-bodied people.
Mm. I mean, one of, recently, um, um, there was this, one day at work, we discussed about disability. All of this happened on an online platform I use for my company. And, in Italy, some time ago, I don't know now, I don't know how the law is, but I know that, a company which has more than 1,000 employees, like needs to be hiring, up to 3%. I don't remember like if it's right, but like I studied a really long time ago with disabilities. And like, I do feel that sometimes, why is there such a distinction, obviously, like maybe there are jobs that like somebody can do physically, but like it just that putting a label is not really helping anybody, like because it's just creating a big space between each other, and like being like, oh, you are this, you are like, you are black, white, you're disabled,
Yeah.
and obviously there's there are conditions, like there's nothing to hide, but is it, I don't know, I just wonder, is this really the way? Because anyway, when you have disability, I do feel like there is something that probably is different in you, that like wouldn't be from another, like another, let's say, normal, like is something that it's an adjective that doesn't necessarily mean anything, because it does not, like what's really normal, but
Yeah.
um like I just feel like the putting labels is not really like helping anybody, not even the person itself, and like people around us, so yeah, that's
Exactly, because that's the thing with the labelling. I think that is so true, because people need to remember that we're all just people. Rather than, oh, that's a disabled person, that's a black person, that's what, any other person. We're all just people, and my disability is obviously part of me, but it's not all of me. And I think that's the thing that we all need to remember, that just defining somebody in a way, it isn't helpful at all.
Yeah, I do agree 100%. I wouldn't know how to agree more.
Right, thanks.
Like it's just yeah, it does, putting a label, or like making as I said, putting a label doesn't necessarily help anybody. That's the way I see it. And yeah.
I just try and
I wish I had one right now, like to keep me company. But then, if I'm all day at work, I don't know how I was going to survive.
That's it, but they are good company when you're at home.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So Maria, it's all for me. Like, if you want to like add something more, like, just feel free. Like,
No, that's all for me. I think that was really good. I think it's such a good idea what you're doing here, Julia. I honestly do.
thank you very much. Good to have some encouragement, because I always need it, because, like I also like, I took a while, like, to opening this page, and I wanted to make it like sound and look as natural it could be. And like, my kind of aim is like, that it's for everybody, budget or like little budget, especially like little budget, I would say, my main concern. And like, like somebody, I don't know, just make it a little bit more equal. Like, yeah, that was what I aimed for. But yeah, thank you very much, Maria. It was lovely to talk to you. Hopefully, like, we're gonna get like one day, maybe in spring, we're gonna be able to see each other in person.
I'm sure it won't be too far away, I'm sure.
And maybe, you can model for me again. That will be a massive pleasure. And yeah, I wish you a good rest of the day then.
Thanks, and thanks for asking me to do this. I think it's a really good thing that you're doing.
No problem. Have a good day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye bye.